I must admit that I am using all of my Stoic training to remain calm at the moment. I never expected to be pulled from my eternal rest, or to be speaking with a bald warlock from the future in some magical portal. What is the purpose of this audience?
No, sir. I'm not a wizard. I'm not a warlock, anything like that. Today, we're using the power of AI to bring you back from your eternal rest just for a little bit. I'm a modern day Stoic. I teach law enforcement officers how to utilize Stoic philosophy, your philosophy, to improve both their lives and their careers. Today, we're hoping to learn a little bit from you, get a little bit of your insight about how to practice this philosophy and what its uses are. So, while we're here today, should I call you Sir or Great Emperor, Your Highness? How would you like to be addressed?
Please, just call me Marcus. Looks like my days of being emperor are long over. I passed that gig off to my son a long time ago.
Absolutely, sir. Marcus. Would you please tell the audience, the listeners out here, just a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what your early experiences were, what helped you grow into the man that you eventually became?
I was born in the year you would call 121 AD in Rome, though my family wasn't originally of the old Roman nobility. We were from Hispania, what you now call Spain. My full name, when I was young, was Marcus Annius Verus. My father died when I was still just a boy, and my grandfather, also named Marcus Annius Verus, took on much of the responsibility for raising me. He was a consul, a man of stature and a stern but dignified model. I admired him deeply. He was calm in the face of difficulty, and that calmness stayed with me. I spent my early years in a large household on the Caelian Hill in Rome. It was a place of wealth and education, but I was always drawn more toward philosophy than politics or luxury. Even as a boy, I preferred the simple tunic of a philosopher rather than the embroidered robes of the elite. I slept on a hard bed and tried to train myself away from indulgence. Some thought it strange. But I was already beginning to see how brief and fragile life was, even for the fortunate. At around age 17, the Emperor Hadrian took notice of me. He arranged for me to be adopted into the imperial line, first by Antoninus Pius, who would later adopt me officially and raise me like a son. From there, my path was shaped for me. I was educated by some of the finest minds of the day. Junius Rusticus, who introduced me to Epictetus, was one of the most important. It was he who gave me the sense that philosophy wasn't just for books, but for life. My childhood wasn't filled with hardship in the way some think of it, but I saw suffering. I saw loss. And from early on, I felt the pull to make sense of it, to prepare myself for what the world would demand. I didn't want to be ruled by pleasure or fear. I wanted to be of use. And that's a thread that never left me. Where I'm from shaped me, but it was the people and principles I chose to emulate that formed the man I became.
Wow, that sounds like an interesting upbringing. So, what was it like being the Emperor of Rome and having all that power? The history books say that people would worship emperors just like they were gods. What was that experience like?
It was never what people imagine when they hear the word emperor. They see the laurel crowns, the statues, the armies. They picture feasts and absolute power. But that's not the reality. Not if you care about justice. Not if you have a conscience. To rule Rome was to stand at the center of a storm. Every day, petitions poured in, from governors, generals, merchants, philosophers, widows, soldiers, slaves. Everyone wanted something. Everyone thought their matter urgent. And some truly were: plagues, border wars, famine, corruption, betrayal. The throne is not a seat of comfort, it's a battlefield of decisions. I ruled during wars with the Germanic tribes, with plagues spreading through the empire, and with internal conspiracies. Even my own general Avidius Cassius declared himself emperor at one point. Imagine that. While grieving the death of a loved one, you receive word that your most trusted commander has betrayed you. I didn't execute him. I told the Senate that if he repented, he should be spared. He was killed by his own men before the offer reached him. But through it all, I never let myself forget what I was: a servant of the people. A king, I wrote, does not own his people. He tends to them like a shepherd. My job wasn't to indulge in power. It was to use it sparingly, justly, and always with the awareness that I too would die. That's what I kept reminding myself in my meditations.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Speaking of your book, Meditations, I'm really glad you brought that up. I don't know if you know this or not, but 2,000 years later here, your book is probably one of the most widely read self help and leadership books on planet Earth. Can you speak a little bit about what you intended that book to be and what your hopes were for it when it got published? Did things turn out the way you wanted them to?
Yes, that little book, Meditations, as you call it now. To tell you the truth, I'm humbled and a little uncomfortable. I never wrote it for others. I wrote it for me. It was my way of holding myself accountable, of wrestling with my impulses, my frustrations, my weariness. Those pages weren't meant to impress anyone. They were reminders, anchors. I didn't write them with polished words in mind, only honest ones. So when I hear that people centuries later, people with phones in their hands, machines in their homes, lights without fire, are still finding meaning in those reflections, it moves me, and it reassures me that what is true of the soul is timeless. Because what I was working through, anger, grief, distraction, ego, loss, love, it's what you're working through too, isn't it? Now, as for using it as a self-help book, I won't argue. If the words help you strengthen your character, face adversity with dignity, or respond rather than react, then yes, take what you need. But know this, it wasn't written to make you feel better. It was written to remind me to be better. Sometimes that meant telling myself hard truths, that I was being petty, or too easily irritated, or too focused on the opinions of others. It's not a book of comfort, it's a book of confrontation with the self. So if people read it as a manual for becoming more grounded, more disciplined, more useful to the world, then I can accept that. But if they're looking for inspiration without effort, they're missing the point.
I appreciate that. So, as you know, law enforcement officers these days are up against a lot. Their lives are very challenging, and it's a difficult career to be in. It's hard to do the right things, maintain a sense of balance, a sense of purpose, when everything seems to be against you all the time. Do you have any advice for law enforcement officers who might want to practice Stoic philosophy or try to be a little more like you?
To the officers of today, your burden is heavy and I do not envy it, but I do respect it deeply. You stand between chaos and order, between harm and safety. You are often the first to enter suffering and the last to leave it. And I know what it is to be surrounded by hardship, to see pain and ugliness not just once but daily, to hold the line while others turn away. So I offer you this, you must protect not only the public, but also your inner fortress. You see, in my time, I commanded armies and faced plagues, betrayal, war, political unrest. I watched people die. I feared for my own life and for my son's. But I learned you cannot control what the world throws at you. You can only control how you meet it. And you will be tested by violence, by loss, by injustice, and by the moments when the people you protect curse your very name. But remember what I wrote to myself, when jarred unavoidably by circumstance, revert at once to yourself and don't lose the rhythm more than you can help. That rhythm is your character, your compass. It must be guarded. You see 1,000 injustices. Don't let them corrupt your own sense of justice. You witness cruelty. Do not allow your own heart to grow cold. You walk through trauma. Do not carry it home in silence. Speak, share, lean on your brothers and sisters. You are not made of stone, but you can be fortified like one through discipline, philosophy, and community. I would also say, be wary of resentment. It is easy to grow bitter in the face of a thankless task, but bitterness poisons the one who holds it. Remember that your service is not about recognition, it is about duty, and that is sacred. Lastly, take care of your soul, not just your body. I once wrote, look well into yourself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you will look there. That applies to you. Do not neglect that inward look. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and no one else can fill yours. That's your responsibility, just as mine was, whether on the battlefield, in the Senate, or alone with my thoughts before sunrise. You are not alone in this struggle, and what you do matters far more than most will ever know. So stay grounded, stay honest, stay whole.
Oh, that's great advice. Thank you very much. And I appreciate you sharing all your wisdom and advice with us here today. Before we leave and you head back to your eternal rest, I was wondering if you had any parting words or thoughts that you want to share with the audience here today. Anything you want to leave us with?
Thank you for having me. If I've said anything today that's useful, then I'm grateful for the chance. Before I go, I'll leave you and anyone listening with this. Guard your mind, tend to your character, and remember the external world, politics, conflict, public opinion, is not where peace is found. Peace is found in living with reason, with justice, with courage, with self-restraint. The world will continue to swirl with distractions, praise and blame, gain and loss, but none of that can touch the soul that has trained itself to say, "This is what I've been given. Now let me respond with excellence." So ask yourself every day, what is within my control, and what kind of person will I choose to be in the face of it all? After seeing your modern world and all your advanced technology, I don't think people have changed much at all. I see the bickering, the fighting, and the turmoil. It was like that in my day also. My advice was true then, and it holds true now. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Life is short. Do not waste it in distraction or complaint. Use it. Use it to serve. Use it to improve. Use it to love.
Wow. There you have it, friends. The great Marcus Aurelius. Thank you, everybody, for listening and paying a little attention today. If you want to hear more ideas like this, if you want to learn more about Stoic philosophy and everything it has to offer to you, I encourage you to check out my free newsletter. It's not spammy. I send out an email 8 o'clock every week, Monday morning. That's it. And you can get it at my website, streetstoic.com. Everything's absolutely free. Until next time, I know it's heating up out there. The summer is starting to look like a wild one. Please keep your heads up, take care of each other, and no matter what tomorrow throws at you, be safe out there.